'Twas a cold winter's night, and without any heat, I wore Bombas socks so they'd warm up my feet. Yay, my feet cried, these socks are the best. So cushy and warm, I can finally rest. But don't rest, I said, there's more if you please. Bombas also makes underwear, slippers, and tees. And for each thing you purchase, they donate one new to someone who needs it so they're cozy too. Everybody deserves to feel good all the time, so gift Bombas this season. That's the end of this rhyme. Go to bombas.com/audio and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Oh yes, let's summon a moonchild.
Eavesdroppin.
Michelle, happy bloody birthday to us!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday to you!
Happy birthday!
Whoop, whoop, whoop! People are confused. It's not my birthday. It's not your birthday. It's our birthday. It's
Eavesdroppin's birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Plong, 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 plong. So yeah, it's been 5 years, mate. 5 whole years. You and me.
How fucking crazy.
I know. That month in November
2020
locked tight down. Many attempts at trying to get a podcast off the ground or even just recording it in the first place. Screams, tantrums, throwing ourselves on the bed and crying and having to try again and again. But we got there in the end, Michelle. And I think we've only gotten better and better and better.
Well, you have to admit we're getting better. See, it's all about the songs.
Oh, is it? Oh, if you say so.
Oh, I mean, what a 5 years we've had.
What a 5 years. How many real life, true crime and supernatural stories have we covered and covered again in that time, do you think?
Well,
there is a number.
I don't know the exact number, but it's got to be around 250. What's the number?
I don't know the number.
Oh, I thought you said you knew the number.
I said I don't know it.
Oh.
You don't listen to me. After 5 years, you're still not bloody listening.
Nothing changes, does it? Nothing changes. But we've covered some great stuff.
What's been your faves?
Oh, it's hard because I love some of the stuff we did right back in the early days.
Yeah. Well, of course, there's the We Knew a Murderer, which really got us on the map, especially with the Aussies and those in the hometown where we both knew each other from.
Yes, exactly. And it was disturbing because we did both know that murderer. We were young.
That's right.
We were kids. We were kids and didn't really sort of understand what was going on so much and the impact of what that guy did. But it seems like murderers are just, getting out all the time. I've got a little update for you coming right up.
Wonderful. Because when we talk about murder, and we're not primarily murder, and we're not primarily Australian-based either, but a lot of those Australian stories, because we do have a lot of listeners in Australia, a lot of those Australian stories were really quite fascinating. And the fact that you kept dipping into stories that were about people's murders which hadn't necessarily been solved and their links to the bush pig man. What's his name again?
Bush pig man?
What's his name? The backpacker murderer?
Ivan Milat.
Ivan Milat.
Ivan Milat.
Yeah, Ivan Milat, whatever his name is. So yeah, the fact that keeps coming up was always fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Some of them quite horrifying. And of course, we have changed a little over the years. We've gone a little kinder to our listeners and me as well, because I'm getting more and more nervous disposition as I get older. I can't hear about some of the horrible
gruesome
things. But I really liked the story about Anu Singh. I didn't like it. It was horrific. But I read a book for my research, which was new, wasn't it? Somebody sent me a book. One of the eavesdroppers sent me a book about this murder. I read it and covered it, and it was quite fascinating.
Yes.
If no one knows what that one is, I can't tell you which episode, but put in Anu Singh in the search word for our website. You'll find it.
Another Australian, murder.
The many, many UFO stories.
Oh my God. And so many cults. So many cults. And we're not even done with cults.
We're not done with cults. Near-death experiences, psychic detectives. People are crying. They want Hazel, the psychic real estate agent, back. But unfortunately, she's very busy.
She is.
Being a real estate agent, not a psychic. So I don't know how we're going to manage that.
Well, Hazel, if you're tuning in right now to our brainwaves,
feel the vibes?
to our vibes, give us some more goss. We need you back on the podcast.
Yes. Or anyone who's psychic.
Well, speaking of our wonderful listeners and our guests, Neil the scientist, he has been in touch.
Oh, where's he been?
He's been busy, I tell you
Good.
that much.
Is he saving the world from the next comet?
He's doing everything. He's bloody Superman, that guy.
I'd feel very safe if I was married to him, I think.
Yes, I think he's a catch.
Oh, wow. You hear it here first, people.
Well, you said you would feel very safe, and I think
would.
you're
I didn't
right.
say it was a catch, though.
Yeah, but that's a catch. If you feel safe,
Okay,
he's a catch.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Oh, anyway. You don't want to be with someone that you feel unsafe with. That's not a good thing.
That's true.
So not even a hello. I didn't even get a hello
Oh, cutting straight
from Neil the scientist.
straight to the chase.
He went straight to eutrophication is excess nutrients.
Thank you. I did say last episode, or one episode ago, but one, I mentioned the word eutrophication, and I said I can't be bothered to explain it. To be honest with you, Neil, I hadn't even looked it up and I didn't know what it meant. So thank you.
So it means excess nutrients, and in water, these lead to the growth of algae and poor water quality.
This is about the funerals.
That's right. This is about the funeral home.
No, this is about throwing ashes into the water table, throwing ashes into Grandad's tree, Grandad's apple tree. It's not going to grow because of eutrophication. Too much nutrients.
Just weird nutrients, I think. And certainly, I mean, we are referring to the Tri-State Crematorium episode a couple of weeks ago.
Which means it could have just been concrete dust.
Could have been.
And that's not going to help anything grow.
No way, man. But he also says some of the algae blooms in Lake Ginninderra are allegedly due to crematorium waste washing in from the crematorium in Mitchell. You've probably swum in it, he said.
Disgusting. Oh my God. Thanks, Neil.
When I mentioned this to Jen...
I don't feel so safe. Hang on, pause for a second, Jen. Sorry to interrupt. I don't feel so safe with Neil now. Okay. I think he's the stuff of nightmares.
He's not a catch anymore.
Yeah.
He's an anti-catch.
No, he's the nightmare man.
Sorry, Neil. You went from high to low in one episode.
Sorry, Neil.
Neil the scientist.
Neil. He's real.
Neil the scientist.
Neil. He's a scientist. Neil. Orange peel.
He blinded us with science. When I mentioned this to Jen, she said, oh, yes, I was giggling all the way through the crematorium episode.
Was she giggling? That's good. You were concerned people were going to be traumatised. But no, Jen was laughing.
She was laughing. She thought it was so hilarious that a little mouse ran out from the sleeve of that man's
Jen,
suit.
Honestly. Jen, by the way, if you're new to this podcast after 5 years of us going strong, you won't know that Jen, the hen, is Michelle's mother.
Yes.
She's our number one eavesdropper.
She is the number one eavesdropper. She's even got a couple of jingles. But Jen then told me, and this may be triggering for you, Geordie, so
okay,
trigger warning. These algae blooms in Lake Ginninderra have only just been discovered because people took their dogs down to the river and their dogs went for a swim.
No.
A couple of hours later, those dogs were dead.
Oh, God.
There's been a whole big thing in Canberra, which is the capital of Australia.
That's
whole big
awful.
thing about dogs dying in the lake because of these algae blooms.
Well, we know what they are.
It's your grandfather.
Well, actually, to be fair, algae blooms, usually when you go to a body of water like Lake Ginninderra, I suspect. But for me, I'm not far from a place in Farnham, which has wild swimming lakes, Frensham Ponds. I absolutely love it down there. Michelle, I've taken you there.
It's beautiful.
But sometimes you can't go in because of the algae blooms. They will have somebody from the water company going in and testing because people do swim there and they'll let you know. But it's down to you to check the water before you go in. Same with the coast, the south coast here in the UK. I like to go to Hastings or Rye, Canberra Sands or Pet Level. I love it there. I shouldn't have said that because that's my favourite spot. I don't want loads of people going there. But Pet Level apparently is quite safe. There's the rocks that lead around to Hastings that stop all the sewage coming around because for the last couple of years, you can't really go swimming in Hastings and the surrounding areas without checking the Surfers Against Sewage website first to make sure it's not a brown day.
Oh, my God. With the poo emoji.
Thank you to the water companies.
Bloody hell. Well, I think
Disgusting.
it's slightly different in Canberra. I think this has freaked everyone out because they are used to their waters being clean enough for no problems, for no thought of other algae blooms.
The thing is, what I'm trying to say, Michelle, is that algae blooms can be naturally occurring.
Yes.
It's just down to what's going on within the ecosystem, I suppose. Correct me if I'm wrong, Neil. I'm sure you will.
Get in touch.
This is supposed to be a birthday episode, so I hope you're going to bring some celebratory information here, Michelle.
No, not really. I was just going to give you a little telerack from Eavesdropper Steph. She told me I had to watch The Golden Bachelor Australia. I will say I've never actually watched The Bachelor, so I didn't really understand or know the concept. I kind of don't like it. It's all these women who are vying to be the new partner of this guy.
I don't like that.
So it's 20 women
fighting over a man.
All fighting over a man. And I swear to you, knives are out. And the thing is with The Golden Bachelor...
Is he worth it?
They're all 60 plus, except for one.
Okay.
They're all 60 plus, basically.
Well, I don't mind a grey fox.
Oh my God, he's hot, actually. His name's Bear. He's Canadian.
Bear?
Yeah, Bear. I don't know what his real name is. We haven't got to that yet. There's only been 2 episodes, so you can binge this. This series is like maths, but gentle. It's nice. I mean, the knives are coming out. There's this one lady who's going down, meeting the bachelor, and they all do these crazy things to stand out. And you're like, no, don't do
Drop
that.
into a lap dance or something.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Well, this one, she's Brazilian, hot babe. She comes down in basically a showgirl outfit and she is like twerking in front of him. And this other one comes down and she's like, oh my God, you're a dirty big hot spunk. And it's just really, it's gold. I mean, it's The Golden Bachelor and it is TV gold. Really, it's the guilty pleasure that you watch when your brain really can't handle anything else.
Yes, I love those things just to switch off the head. Yes, lovely.
So that's a big tick from me.
Okay.
Recently, when I was really tired and I thought I'm just going to drop a sleeping pill because I wanted a good night's sleep.
And we're not advocating taking drugs, by the way, people.
No. And especially I was fucked the next day. I could not even barely stay awake. And one of the things I did, because I tried to do work, I couldn't do anything. My head was just a fog. It was like a blur. So I thought I have to watch something. So I watched a film.
Yes.
Called The Roses. You've probably heard about it.
I have heard about that, yes. I've heard it's great.
For me, it's an anti-rec.
Okay.
Didn't love it.
I wasn't running to the cinema to see it.
Anti-rec.
Okay. I've got Rex.
Lay 'em on me.
Because I'm watching Celebrity Traitors, Michelle. It is wild.
Is it the American one or the British?
The British one, the very first time. We've got
who's on?
Sir Stephen Fry.
Oh my God. Love it already.
Alan Carr.
No.
Yep. Paloma Faith.
Mm.
She's best friends with Alan Carr, and there's some controversy. Celia Imrie, who is one of the wonderful actresses who used to be in the Victoria Wood show. She's fantastic, and she is the best thing about it, I have to say.
Really? Okay.
Jonathan Ross.
Oh, Rossi.
He's a super fan, by the way.
Is he?
Claire Balding, National Treasure.
Yes,
here
she
in the
is.
UK. Mark Bonner, who is always a bad guy. And actually, he's really handsome. He's a Scottish actor. He's got white hair. And he was the one that Lindsay, Denton was having an affair with in season 2 of Line of Duty. He was the top cop. So he's always bad.
Right.
He's always a bad guy. But he's just a really lovely guy. And do you know what, Michelle? I think he looks a bit like Terence Stamp.
No.
Lucky Mark Bonner, yes.
Oh my goodness. Do you know what? I am chomping at the bit now to get into this.
Charlotte Church, I haven't finished. Tom Daly, Nick Mohammed, the actor and comedian who was in Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Joe Wilkinson, who is fucking hot, by the way, who's a comedian. He's the one with the beard who was in Afterlife. He was the postie.
Well, not to give anything away, but that one in Ted Lasso, he's now in the new Slow Horses.
And Lucy Beaumont, who is a
Who's that?
comedian. You don't really see much of her. I don't really know. And one other person, another guy called Joe, who is a rugby person. And did I say the little swimmer?
No.
Tom Daly, I did.
Oh,
yes.
did you? Yes. That sounds like an absolutely fabulous lineup.
It's so good. And gorgeous scenery.
Yes.
Claudia Winkleman's outfits are to die for still.
Oh, she's
And it's
so good.
fabulous. And Celia Imrie does a fart on TV. I just
Oh, is she sneezing at the same time?
No. She was shocked and horrified.
Oh, really? Oh, my God.
Not about the fart. That's what caused the fart.
Oh, okay.
She was frightened.
No fart talk. I really cannot wait to get stuck into that because actually I need something.
And it's that time of year. It's getting cold now here in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's time for some good telly.
It is.
I've got to tell you, we also watched, this is a recommendation from an eavesdropper. It was a Netflix show called Dark Wind. I know you said no more fart talk. But this one's called Dark Wind. It's stunning looking.
That's actually called a shart.
Don't. It's on Netflix. Stunning looking. Navajo tribal police and a cover-up. And there's lots of men with long black hair and there's witchcraft and the most incredible, moving coming-of-age ceremony that the Navajo people give their young girls when they get their first period. I absolutely loved that part of the story. That was the best thing about it for me. Speaking of, last night I watched with my husband, I watched the film Anora. Have you seen that?
No.
Worth a watch. It's bloody fantastic. It was a Cannes winner. It was the lead actress got an award, I think the Academy Award for Best Actress last year. It got Best Film last year. So I thought, oh, it'll be shit. But no, it's fantastic. It's set in a Russian kind of community within New York. Mm-hmm. She works at a strip club. Her name's Annie, Anora. And a young guy comes in who wants a Russian-speaking escort. And so she steps up. They end up having a fantastic time. He is a young guy. He's an oligarch's son, and he's a bit of a loose cannon. So that's all I'm going to tell you. That's all you need to know. But those of you who've seen it, and it is funny, it's also heartbreaking, and it's a caper as well. There's a caper. Lots of sex. I watched it with my 14-year-old daughter, which was a little bit embarrassing, but it wasn't too much. You know, she's a sex worker. It wasn't gratuitous.
Wow.
But the final scene was very impactful, is all I can say.
Okay, well, you didn't give any spoilers, so that's great.
I did not. I'm good at that, unlike you, Michelle.
Well, I know that this has just been chock full of telerecs and roundups and all sorts. I'm going to give you a quick update on the Skara Cannibal.
Ah, the Skara Cannibalen.
Skara Cannibalen, yeah. I'm not joking. I feel like since we covered this story on Eavesdroppin', that story somehow has moved out of Sweden. And I think it's because of us.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
We fucking did that.
The social media post that we've done for that has the most views out of any of our social media posts.
There you go.
Eavesdroppin _ by the way. If you want to go over to Instagram and check that out, please do. Sign up. Give us a like.
Yeah, and a follow. I would say if you use us for research, please give us a bit of credit. Why don't you? It's only right. Look, for any eavesdroppers who don't know what I'm talking about and may have missed the Skara Cannibal episode, basically, my partner is Swedish, and in the town where he went to school, and really, actually around the corner from our little summer cabin in the woods, there was a guy called Eavesdroppin who was 32 at the time. He murdered his 40-year-old girlfriend, Helle Christensen, on November 12, 2010. And just this week in the local paper, there was an update. In the new information, this now retired criminal investigator, Per Jenvien, I think that's how you say his name, talks about what it was like to work on what has now become one of the most brutal murders in Sweden.
Right.
Yes, but he actually says in some ways it was one of the simpler murders he's ever worked on. Oh. Because Isaacson reported himself and apparently was very compliant during the investigations and had no objections to any of the questioning. And then Per Jenvien goes into what he calls, and this is a quote, a pretty funny story about the case. Where basically Isaacson had called 112, which is the equivalent.
The emergency.
Yeah, it's emergency. It's like 911 or 000.
Yeah.
And he'd reported what he'd done. And the operator, she basically says, listen, okay, I've got the police on their way. Lie down on the floor inside your house, face down with your arms out to the sides on your stomach so that police can see him as they enter and know that he's, not armed with a knife or gun or whatever. And then she tells him, and this is all like recorded, she says, you can open the front door so they don't have to break in. So he gets up, he does that, and then he lies down again, arms out to the side. And after a few minutes, she says to him, okay, the police are right outside your apartment. Can you hear them? And he's like, no. I don't hear any police. And she's like, you must, because they're grabbing the door handle and they're about to step into your apartment. And he's like, no, they're not. And it turns out the police have gone up the wrong stairwell and then broken into the wrong apartment.
Oh, no.
I know. And this is all on the police recording.
Bungling.
Yeah, it just goes to show that police just can fuck up all over the world, even when it comes to one of the most shocking murders. I have to say, if I was per Yenvin, I would take that fuck up story to the grave with me instead of being like, oh, here's a funny story.
Yes, it doesn't paint the police in good light, does it?
No. But look, once they did find the right apartment and then they found the naked, lifeless body of Helle Christensen on the floor,
Yikes.
head cut off on the kitchen table, other parts of her body in the fry pan because he'd cooked and eaten and cut her up. Fast forward to 2011 when he was convicted of murder and he was sentenced to closed psychiatric care with a special discharge assessment. And then he's been treated in one of the biggest psychiatric clinics in Sweden. And then from the clinic, he ran a blog.
Oh.
And he even had his own YouTube channel.
Oh, God. Are they allowed to do that? Well, obviously.
Well, I guess he was.
Yeah.
But Helle's family have been really upset about it. And Helle's sister Britt was quoted as saying, "It has made me very angry that he's been able to sit and talk about the murder on YouTube.
Yes.
Considering what he's in for, he shouldn't have the right to sit there and talk about it and almost brag about what he's done. It makes me furious, to be honest."
That's appalling.
But he was basically locked up for 13 years. But at the end of 2024, dude was let out.
What?
Geordie, he now lives in an apartment somewhere, but he's getting forensic.
Around the corner from you.
Don't fucking even say it because it doesn't say where he is.
Yeah.
If he's next door and he knows that Eavesdroppin Michelle is here, I could be next. He's got forensic psychiatric care on an outpatient basis. Now he's saying Helle asked him to kill her.
Oh.
There's absolutely no evidence to back that up. And he said he did it so he could get treatment.
What?
And then when they ask him if he's sorry for killing her, he basically says no, because what he did to Helle was essentially assisted suicide. And he says, and this is a quote, "It's not murder. I'm not a murderer."
Okay.
And he said, that cutting off her head and eating her body were to convince the court that he needed psychiatric care.
Oh.
And he did all of that so he would look crazy and definitely get the treatment.
I'm sure there would have been another way.
Well, I'm just going to call bullshit on that because what the actual fuck? It's scary.
Yeah.
I hope that they don't ever actually let him out.
Well, he is out, Michelle.
Without this psychiatric care. This is also what could happen in the next stage. So come on, Sweden. Fucking toughen up. I'm just going to finish these little wrap-ups with one more thing. Obviously, we did the tri-state crematory story a couple of weeks ago.
We did.
And if you don't think that it can happen outside of America, wrong. Just last week, former funeral director at Legacy Independent Funeral Directors, a guy called Robert Bush from Kirkella in West Yorkshire, he pleaded last week guilty to 36 charges of fraud after a shit ton of human remains were found at his
Bloody
premises. Trigger, including 4 babies lost during pregnancy.
No. Oh.
I mean, what the actual fuck here? But then he pleaded not guilty to 30 counts of preventing lawful and decent burials. I mean, which is terrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you can plead guilty to 36 charges of fraud, but 30 counts...
This is, sorry to interrupt you, that's what they had to get your guy on in your story. They had to go for fraud because he didn't dispose of the bodies correctly, whereas there was no law in Georgia that covered not disposing of a body correctly, which is what they got this guy on.
Yes, but he's saying not guilty.
Huh.
He's pleading not guilty to 30 counts of preventing lawful and decent burials.
Right. Why?
Well, I don't know. Well, he hasn't been charged. I mean, he's been charged, but he hasn't been convicted yet. But I will say also on this rap sheet is one charge of stealing money from charity collection boxes. What is with this guy? Seriously.
He's not like your guy from the podcast episode a couple of weeks ago where he was just kind of in over his head.
Yeah, really. Up to his neck in bones, that guy.
Right.
So this one, I just reckon he's a dodgy wheeler dealer. That's just my opinion. Sorry.
Well,
but yes, it can happen anywhere, and it does.
Proceed with caution. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for the wrap-ups. Thank you for the, the rehashes. What do you call it? Thank you for the updates.
And
of those, yes.
And of course, it's my birthday gift to everyone.
Thanks, Michelle. Yes, you're right. Eavesdroppin turns 5, and so does the Great Beast.
Oh, yes, of course. Good segue.
5 years ago, Eavesdroppin, this very podcast, launched with an episode about one of the most notorious and fascinating figures in British occult history, Aleister Crowley. Or Crowley, as some people call him.
What?
I like to say Crowley.
I say Crowley.
We've said this before, Michelle. A.K.A. the Great Beast. And now, 150 years after his birth, the Beast is back, baby. Because it was his birthday. October 12th was his birthday. He was born in 1875. And I know it's November, but it's segueing in with something I'll tell you about in a minute. But I just want to say happy heavenly birthday, Al.
Oh. Honestly, it's like we're twins. It's like Al and Eavesdroppin. They're twins.
Well, we are.
Twinnies.
We will be twins forevermore because he was our first episode.
Yes.
And he was many other things, Michelle. He was a poet, a mountaineer, an occultist, drug enthusiast, magician, fraudster, genius, pervert.
Sex addict.
He called himself the Great Beast, and the tabloids of the 1920s named him the wickedest man in the world. Love him or hate him, Aleister Crowley still has an impact on popular culture. Because, for example, we can't stop talking about him. We've done so many episodes featuring Crowley over the last 5 years. There was the first one, which is Series 1, Episode 1, Beast of Hastings. Then mentions all the way from Episode 7, Series 4, Rock and Roll and the Occult. He was mentioned in that one. Episode 21, Series 4, mentioned in the Psychic Phenomenon episode. Episode 39, Series 4, Rosalie Norton and the Women of Crowley. It just goes on, Michelle.
On and on.
From the Beatles and Led Zeppelin to Ozzy Osbourne, founding Blondie member Gary Lackman, a.k.a. Gary Valentine, who was Crowley's biographer, Jazz Coleman of Killing Joke, and countless modern occultists, fascination of AC continues to ripple through the zeitgeist. And his mantra, do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law.
And that has been open to all sorts of interpretations.
And it's a slogan for generations of artists and upsetters alike.
Yes.
So in October 2025, now we're in November, I'm aware of that, but you can go back on BBC Sounds and find this if possible. BBC Radio 4 marked Crowley's 150th birthday with Aleister Crowley, Master of the Dark Arts, which aired Saturday, October 25th at 8 p.m. And it features broadcaster Paul Morley in conversation with Geraldine Beskin of London's legendary esoteric store, Atlantis Bookshop. Now, Michelle, I am on the mailing list for this store because I've been searching for something for us to attend because they have all sorts of gothic courses and tarot nights and psychic nights and weird things. It's an amazing shop and we need to go there next time you're in London. It's a bit of gothic horror or a pagan class or something like that. We'll find something. It's the same shop where Crowley once apparently browsed the shelves, possibly harassing the staff. And the owner back then apparently hated him.
Right.
This bookstore, Atlantis, was established in 1922 by magicians for magicians, and it's the birthplace of modern witchcraft, with Gerald Gardner holding regular coven meetings in the basement of the shop. Not Mysteries, no.
No, because the one we went to all the time in Covent Garden was Mysteries.
Mysteries.
Yes.
It's gone now. Sorry.
Yeah.
But there is this store and there's another one. I can't remember the name of it, but there's a couple all around the same area. We're going to go. It's near the British Museum. So as Eavesdroppin celebrates our 5th birthday and our very first episode on the Beast of Hastings, we're going to revisit Crowley, his life, his magic, and his lasting influence on music, counterculture, and the occult.
I will just interject here and say, even though the content of that first episode was absolutely fantastic, our recording technique was not. It's actually quite painful to listen to because we've so improved since then.
We've come on leaps and bounds, Michelle.
We have. So that's why I think this is really great to do an update because this is now going to be listenable.
Hopefully.
Well done.
Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
Studies show that 100% of everybody in the world wants to curl up indoors and do nothing because it's so darn cold out there. That's why many people are turning to Bombas, whose pillowy plush slippers and warm merino wool socks have been said to be the most comfortable in the history of feet. Bombas products have been found to boost coziness by up to 1,000,000%. Okay, enough fake statistics, but could Bombas socks and slippers really be the cure? Go to bombas.com/audio and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO.
So was Crowley a pioneering thinker who helped drag esoteric ideas into the mainstream? Was he a manipulative egomaniac who left destruction in his wake? Or according to his mother, was he a very naughty boy? I'm paraphrasing. Actually, she called him the Beast due to his mucky ways and sticky sheets.
Ew.
She gave him the name the Beast.
Ew.
But Crowley was a ceremonial or ritual magician, less interested in casting spells than in altered states of consciousness to explore the hidden corners of reality. And after joining all the latest Hermetic orders of Golden Dawns and whatnots, he eventually started his own religion, Thelema, in the early 1900s. And listeners of this podcast will know all this because we've said it before.
We have.
On the symbolic and ritualistic front, his invisibility spells were invocations of Egyptian and Thelemic deities, as well as experiments in weather control. Some were psychological exercises, others were drug-enhanced ceremonies intended to break the illusion of reality. And he often wrote about entering trance states, claiming to receive messages from non-human entities such as Awaz.
Awaz.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Awaz.
Awaz.
And as a side note, Awaz was the voice Crowley said he heard in 1904, and Awaz dictated the Book of the Law through channeling his wife, Crowley's wife, Rose Edith Kelly, while they were on their honeymoon in Cairo.
Oh.
Fun thing to do.
Oh,
Forget the sightseeing. Let's just be channeled by some sort of weird
entity,
esoteric being, non-human entity. By the way, Crowley reported to having a strong impression of how Awaz looked. He said his body was composed of fine matter, transparent like gauze, and seemed to be a tall, dark man in his 30s with the face of a savage king and eyes veiled lest their gaze should destroy what they saw.
Oh,
wow.
Creepy.
Sounds quite hot.
Oh, I thought it sounded creepy. And that's the difference between me and you.
That's the difference. However, Crowley later said he discovered that true invisibility doesn't come from vanishing, but from blending in. To be unseen, you just need to look as though you belong, to be confident and have the authority of someone who is exactly where they're meant to be.
Or be a woman over 55.
Or that, I was going to add. With that art mastered, you could get about unnoticed backstage at a concert or break into a bank vault or behind a bar. Michelle, let's do it. We have the invisibility spell.
We do.
Without raising any suspicions. So far, so normal, really. So what's the big deal about bloody Crowley? What's so not normal about him? Well, as his mum would testify after his disgusting bedsheets, it was his obsession with sex, Michelle.
Yes, I know. He was a filthy beast, a filthy devil.
Was. The wilder, the dirtier, the better. With anyone, anytime, anyhow.
How did the wife feel about that, you know?
Well, he had many. There are some outrageous historically documented incidents from Aleister Crowley's sexual and ritual life from credible biographers. Also, accounts appear in Crowley's own diaries, letters, and there's eyewitness testimony. So they are supported by historical evidence and not made up by the tabloids for shock value, as was most of the things we know about Crowley.
Yes.
We spoke previously about the Abbey of Thelema, and you were recently in Sicily.
Yes.
This was in Cefalù in Sicily, but you didn't get to go there, did you?
No, but I think we should do a girls' trip to Cefalù.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Why not?
And the food, oh my God, the food in Sicily. I mean, Cefalù, Crowley, and a big bowl of pasta. It's a trifecta.
Oh, that's not bad, huh? Well, his Abbey of Thelema was active in Cefalù between 1920 and 1923 and ended in death and controversy. Go back to Series 1, Episode 1 for more on that. But briefly, it was his religious home base where residents performed daily invocations, yoga and sex magical rituals, including group sex, apparently while children were present.
No. Put them to bed.
That's what we talked about. You know this, Michelle. We talked about this.
I know, but put them to bed, for fuck's sake.
Crowley also took heroin and cocaine regularly and encouraged the others in the Abbey to use drugs as a gateway to altered consciousness. Again, the children were running wild while all the adults were half naked and absolutely spun out on God knows what.
Yeah.
And then there was the infamous cat sacrifice story that popped up, which came from a London bohemian dancer called Betty May. And we did talk about this in the first episode, but I'm going to go back to it, so forgive me. Her younger third husband, Raoul Loveday, was a keen follower of Crowley and had been taken under his wing. So Raoul was a sickly wan man. Wan. But the couple moved to the Abbey in Sicily anyway, despite him being quite sickly. And Raoul Loveday drank from a ritual chalice containing cat's blood. He died soon after of enteric fever, but it was actually, as I discussed in the first episode, more likely to have been from drinking from a fountain that had contaminated water, and Crowley warned everyone not to drink from it.
Yes.
But the incident caused a tabloid frenzy that led to Crowley being booted out of Italy by Mussolini, no less.
Oh.
Another side note. Betty May had an extraordinary life. I found all this stuff about her while I was doing the research for this episode, and it's worth pinning for a later episode, all of the stuff about her. She has a memoir called Tiger Woman, and she had this anecdote from her time in Cefalù, which I haven't spoken about before.
Okay.
She said she had been exploring the Abbey when she came across a chest containing men's ties. They were stiff, and on closer inspection, she decided that they were caked in dried blood. She asked Crowley about it, and he said that they were the ties of none other than Jack the Ripper.
No.
Who had worn a new one before each murder, and who he had known. Crowley said he knew him, and that he was still alive.
Oh my
in 1920
God.
to 1923. Yeah. Crowley claimed that the Ripper was a surgeon and a magician who had learned to make himself invisible, because Crowley also believed he could make himself invisible through magic, see above what I just said. Mind you, May and Crowley didn't get on, and the whole time she was there, Betty May had been sending reports to the Sunday Express of the stuff that was going on at the Abbey, which those reports were then turned into salacious stories about Crowley. And once she returned to England after her hubby died, she sold the rest of her story for an additional 500 quid.
Good work. She made a little tidy profit out of that.
She did. And then years later, there was a libel trial for Crowley in 1934 where Betty May was the star witness. And that was his wickedest man in the world days, or phase. And that trial was in response to a book written about the Abbey called The Laughing Torso by Nina Hamnet. We have spoken about this before, which alleged that a child had disappeared at the Abbey. And like I said, see the previous episodes. This case was dismissed. But other gross stuff about Crowley, there's plenty of it, if you'd like to know.
Of course.
Would you like to hear about how he would incorporate bodily fluids? And I have spoken about this before, I'm sure of it, such as blood, semen and menstrual blood into his rituals, believing they held the vital essence of will and spirit.
Oh my
Yum.
God.
Get some into you. Get it down your Gregory.
Oh my God, this guy. Do you know what? Semen, I kind of get it.
What?
I do.
Michelle.
I mean, look.
Sorry, Jen.
But, go on to Pornhub and there's a lot of ladies.
I'm not going to.
Loving the white stuff. But blood, I'm just saying, but blood, yuck. And menstrual
I'm filthy?
blood, that's a little bit Hell's Angels, Red Wings. Nobody needs that.
Look, I am not judging anybody here. Horses for courses, as you often say, Michelle. However, he referred to those bodily fluids as elixirs of sex magic and used them symbolically in offerings or consumed them as part of a sacred practice. And to avoid censorship All of this stuff is detailed in various letters and diaries and books, all in code. So is his sexual antics. So it's really hard to get like all the down and dirties. And also the internet blocks you.
Oh, you have to go on the dark web.
I don't have the subscription codes, Michelle. Only you've got that. You're not sharing. Crowley also loved a bit of sadomasochism, and his female partners were revered by him as incarnations of the goddess Babylon, who channeled divine power through sex. And as you know, Michelle, we did the Women of Crowley episode. So go back if you're interested in all his famous female lovers who would all fight over him, plus give birth to his various children. And some of those women were Leah Hersig, first wife Rose Kelly, Mary Butts, and Dorothy Olson, all involved in rituals exploring bisexual and sadomasochistic elements. Good times.
Thing is, I'm not sure I've really seen that many pictures of him as a young man.
No, he's not hot.
He's not hot.
No.
He's obviously got something. Or
I think he was tall and imposing, and he was
and
just
probably charming and
a
eccentric.
guy that did what he wanted. Yeah, all of the above.
Yes, and smart. I think he's a smart guy. And I think he was a bit of a showman, you know.
Oh, God, yeah.
He loved a flowy robe.
Yeah.
Loved a bit of theatre with all those rituals.
Yes, he did. And unfortunately, for one of his male lovers, poet Victor Neuburg, Crowley took him to his remote Scottish estate, Boleskine House, more on that in other episodes, for what became an intense initiation into the occult. Because for over 10 grueling days, Neuburg was subjected to physical and psychological endurance tests like sleeping naked on gorse bush, or gorse bushes, or just gorse.
What's gorse?
I don't know.
Is that itchy?
So gorse...
Is that like nettle?
No, it's very stiff. It's prickles. You have them in the south of England as well as in Scotland as well.
Right.
Gorse bushes. You don't want to touch them, really. They're not fun to touch. Also fasting and putting up with Crowley's verbal and physical abuse, often anti-Semitic because Neuburg was Jewish. So he'd be taunting him. And despite this, Neuburg wrote that he experienced incredible visions in his magical diary, including astral travelling.
Ooh. Well, I mean, the fasting I can get on board with, but the rest, it's a bit much.
No thanks.
No.
Crowley thought Victor Neuburg was ready for more hardcore rituals, so he took him to Algiers in 1909 for the infamous Choronzon working, which was meant to evoke a powerful chaos demon.
Okay.
Because you can.
Yes.
Why not, you know? The experiment incorporated sexual elements for the first time and convinced Crowley that sex was the ultimate key to magical success.
Right. Do we know where Crowley got all his money? Because he's travelling a lot.
It was family money, but he lost it.
Well, yeah.
Previous episodes, Michelle, we know that he was born into a wealthy family.
I forgot. Sorry.
Okay, never mind. By 1910, Victor Neuburg was on Crowley's arm in semi-public rituals, most notably the invocation of Barzabel, the spirit of Mars. And I don't know anything more about that, but it sounds fascinating. But I've only got limited time, so I can't tell you everything, Michelle. Calm down. But while he was possessed by the Barzabel inside a magic triangle, that's as much as I know, Victor Neuburg made prophecies, including accurate predictions of the Balkan War and the coming of World War I.
Oh,
yeah.
That's something.
Everybody was loving this, so they turned it into performances called The Rites of Eleusis, which was a series of 7 completely over-the-top ceremonies that were staged for paying audiences at Caxton Hall in London.
Right.
Guests were giving something, when they walked in, they were given something called a loving cup, which is a step up from wine in a plastic cup, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Which you get when you go to the theatre here. But it was a mix of alcohol, fruit juice, opiates and mescaline.
And semen.
And it was to help the... No semen, just mescaline and opiates, which is enough, if you ask me, to help the audience heighten their receptivity to the performances.
Yep.
And Neuburg would then come on stage clad in white and dance himself into a frenzy to the violin of Crowley's other lover, Layla Waddell.
Yes.
What a bunch of lovies, honestly.
I know.
Loving themselves stupid here.
I know. And then just getting on stage and doing the do. I wonder if the people knew they were drinking hallucinogenics, because
I hope so.
Obviously that's illegal now. You
Right.
can't do that.
It's expensive too. I don't think
Yeah.
people would just hand those out. You'd have to pay a lot for the tickets. But Neuburg and Crowley's collabs came to an end in 1914 after one called the Paris Working, which was 24 sex magic rituals intended to invoke Jupiter and Mercury. which is the planet of wealth. Crowley needed a cash boost, Michelle. He was running out, so he needed to keep invoking and doing all these rituals to get more money. Crowley recorded in his diaries the trance states, the prophecies, and the claims of shared past lives in ancient Crete. But later, when Neuburg inherited money from an aunt and refused to hand it all over to Crowley, they fell out and parted ways.
Well, I wouldn't give him all my money either.
No, you wouldn't.
It's my fucking money. Hands off, mate.
Well, the thing is, you are kind of under Crowley's wing. You are under his...
Yeah.
He's the guy that's instigating all of these things, you see. So
you could say he's the leader of the cult.
Well, there is that. He did start his own religion.
He did.
Neuburg then moved on to the dancer Ione de Forest, who sadly shot herself in 1911. And I'm telling you this because Neuburg believed Crowley was responsible because he'd put a curse on her after the two broke up. Yes. Say what you like about Crowley, but he was nothing if not interesting.
Yeah.
Some revere him. Some despise and fear him, and others think of him as a perpetual teenage brat doing what thou wilt all over the bloody shop.
Yeah.
But here at Eavesdroppin, we love a Crowley story. He's the gift that keeps giving, so happy birthday, Aleister, and happy birthday to you and me. Together we are Eavesdroppin. Hooby supernatural. Ghost is in a wall. Supernatural. Poltergeist at all, supernatural. We are chatting supernatural. Supernatural.
Oh, well, thanks, Geordie.
My pleasure.
I mean, it's always great to have some info on Crowley, and I feel like...
The dirtier the better, but I couldn't find some really dirty stuff.
I mean, do you really want all that filthy sex stuff?
I just want to...
Yeah, you do.
I kind of want to know from a car crash, kind of.
Yeah.
I want to look, but not necessarily get involved. I don't even want to watch it.
No, me either. But I do think he was perverted and dark. And of course, that has this whole sexual element to it. And that's obviously for some people really attractive and fascinating. But only for me as an observer, not in a voyeuristic way, is how I would want to know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. We don't want to be watching like that. It's not dogging, Michelle.
No, it's not dogging. Beyond all the stuff that you have talked about, I was thinking, how am I going to bring anything new to the table here? Because Crowley has been done to death. But I did find that there's this fascinating connection between Crowley's magical experiments and what would become a lot of what we as a culture associate with aliens and UFOs.
Oh.
Yeah, because around 1917, when Aleister Crowley was holed up in a flat on West 9th Street in New York, he performed what's called the Amalantra working. You probably came across that in your research.
There were so many workings.
I know. He's full of them. Basically, this was where he opened up a channel between dimensions to make contact with other intelligences.
Oh, I like that.
I know. So he was fully into trying to connect with, is there anything out there?
Yeah. By drinking semen and blood and...
Oh, yes. And all the rest of
mescaline.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Supposedly, according to him, he succeeded. After opening up these channels to other dimensions, he claimed to have made contact with an entity called LAM, L-A-M. He drew it. Now, Geordie, I have seen the sketch.
Okay.
It's a grey.
Oh.
It is basically what we now call greys. You know, it's the grey alien with the huge eyes, the oversized head, the pointy chin, spindly body, and this was decades before Roswell, flying saucer craze in the 50s. So basically, we have this classic alien illustration and thought in our heads because of Aleister Crowley.
Thank you.
He came up with that.
I told you, he's the gift that keeps giving.
He really is. Now, look, this entity Lamb actually became a bit of a minor celebrity in occult circles because basically Aleister Crowley did not call this thing an alien. And after Crowley died, Lamb didn't just disappear. In fact, one of Aleister Crowley's students, a guy called Kenneth Grant, kind of ran with this whole entity called lamb, and he created something called Typhonian OTO, which was this thing, it was where he had mixed thelema, Lovecraftian horror,
wow,
and extraterrestrials all together.
How exciting.
I know.
It's almost like not a religion, but a subsect of something.
Maybe? Yes. I mean, I guess he created a
movement
and some doctrines around it.
Okay.
But then he also produced something called the Lamb Statement, which was a ritual that you could use to contact Lamb directly.
All right.
So what you would have to do is you would...
Are we doing it now?
No, I don't want to contact Lamb.
Let's not do that. Be careful, Michelle. I don't want him coming here.
Go away, Lamb. I don't want Lamb here. Lambs are not welcome.
Nor a Skara Cannibal either.
No. This mantra, what you would do is you would apparently focus on Crowley's sketch of this thing.
Right.
Which we now think of as a grey. And then you would chant Lamb as a mantra.
Let's not do that.
No. And then that's when you would sort of attempt to initiate contact.
Oh.
And the idea was that you could actively reach out to these beings.
Oh.
In what ufologists today would call a CE5 encounter, which means a human-initiated first contact.
That sounds really familiar, Michelle, not from the UFO alien contact front, but from an episode that we did a while back. I think it might have been the telepathy tapes. I'm not sure. When we talked about, and I can't remember what they called them either, but when people could actually turn, like they could focus on anything and make it real.
Yes, there was also some computer programs that were helping to do that too.
Right.
I mean, it's a wild idea. So, yeah, human-initiated first contact. But then, circling back to this whole lamb thing, years later, a guy called Brian Butler, who was an artist and an occultist, he had his own run-in with lamb while performing rituals in Brazil.
But he wasn't trying to call for him. I'm not going to even say his name, Lamb.
Don't say his name. No, I don't know, but it wasn't a typical alien abduction story. Instead, he sort of describes it as a long, slow process. A bit like, he says, a slideshow in his consciousness where he was gradually introduced to a non-human intelligence. And they communicated through imagery, not words. And Brian was left with the impression of a cold, mechanical intelligence that was alien in the sense that it operated outside normal human understanding and outside time even. And he likened it to classic grey alien experiences. But he said it was internal and psychic, not a physical abduction.
He didn't see or feel.
Like a psychic abduction.
Yeah.
And
God.
he said it would actually raise your consciousness if you survived it.
Oh, what?
But it could also fucking terrify you.
To death.
Yes. He also said these entities don't have empathy.
Oh.
And they are from another order of being. And if you're unprepared, it will be overwhelming.
Oh, God.
Well, obviously, all of that stuff's really scary. But then you've got Aleister Crowley's influence on a whole lot of other things. In 1946, a guy called Jack Parsons, who was a rocket scientist, conducted the Babylon workings, not to find Lamb, but to actually find the whore of Babylon.
Right.
Because he apparently wanted to summon a moonchild. And I don't know
What's
why.
that?
I don't fucking
We
know.
don't know.
I didn't look it up.
We just take it as read.
I don't know. It just seemed bizarre.
Oh, yes, let's summon a moonchild.
But because of this, Kenneth Grant later suggested that because Jack Parsons messed around with all those energies, Jack Parsons had opened a doorway or a portal that may have contributed to the UFO spate of sightings in 1947. Yeah, because suddenly it seemed like there were flying saucers everywhere. And Kenneth Arnold's sightings over Mount Rainier in Roswell was part of that. And this whole kind of post-war explosion of UFO reports, in many ways, all lead back to Aleister Crowley, who had opened this door to Lamb. And then Jack Parsons kind of kicked it open a little bit more. And that's when this whole phenomena took off. And of course, there's the Betty and Barney Hill alien abduction of 1961, which you covered in a previous episode. And for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Betty and Barney Hill were driving through New Hampshire one night when they see this big, bright object. It's moving in a weird way. Barney sees about 10 or 11 humanoid figures that were not human in his kind of experience. And then both Barney and Betty experience missing time. And then under hypnosis, they recall that they were examined and returned by extraterrestrials from the Zeta Reticuli system. And this is the Crowley connection here. Aleister Crowley had lived in New Hampshire just a few years before Betty and Barney Hill had this whole experience.
What is with this 12 degrees? What do you call it again?
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
I know, it's weird. He lived less than an hour away from where the Hills were abducted. And apparently Crowley had had his own paranormal encounter in New Hampshire, right near where the Hills encounter happened, where he had seen a glowing orb. And he wrote about this in a letter to the New York Times, which was actually published, where the Hills woke up after their abduction was, I mean, it's not like round the corner. It was 35 miles down the road from Aleister Crowley had lived. And apparently there was this whole thing with the number 93, which in Thelema numerology is like this huge number which connects to will and love. So people are asking, is there some kind of psychic or mystical kind of connection here, or is it just coincidence? And I don't know. I have no clue. But I will say that, obviously you had said, Aleister Crowley was high as a fucking kite so much of the time on mescaline and hash and whatever else.
Cocaine, opiates. He loved a bit of heroin.
Yes, exactly. But he has said that neither Lamb nor any of his visions were hallucinations. He says they are fact. And he thinks of them as more real than anything reality or the ego could provide.
What do you think about that, though, Michelle? Because just thinking about the story that, okay, fair enough, Betty May told a story about something she found that she said, Crowley said, was Jack the Ripper. Who was lying there? Was anyone lying? Did Crowley actually say it? Did Betty May just make it up because she couldn't stand the bastard? Who knows? But I don't know. I feel like he liked to hoodwink.
I feel like he loved to be in control. I think he loved a good story. And I think he was a master of self-promotion. And this is all part of it. I mean, really fascinating that he basically created our visual interpretation of an alien with a grey. Like fucking crazy shit here. He had his own magazine called, what was it? The Equinox. He had his own periodical where he would talk about all of this stuff. He was an influencer, really. And I think that if you got on the wrong side of him and you found a box of ties, he's going to say they're from Jack the Ripper, and you're never going to know if it's true or false. I think he loved to muck around and play with people and
play with your perceptions. That's what he was all about, playing with perception.
Definitely. But, when it comes to all of this stuff, you wonder, like Aleister Crowley, how did this thing, his sketch with the Greys, kind of even make public consciousness? Well, he actually put it on display in 1919 in a Dead Souls exhibit in Greenwich Village. And then he published it in his periodical. Right. And he said that Lamb is the Tibetan word for the way or path. And actually, I did look that up, and the AI overview said that's true. So he's right.
Okay.
But, I think, as I said before, I think he was a real master of self-promotion. And I think he was a really good publicist for himself. So essentially, I think Aleister Crowley, he is a self-styled beast of Hastings and everywhere else. And
a great beast.
And look, according to him, he manages to open a door to other dimensions in New York. Yeah. He sees this entity, he sketches it, he basically creates the archetype for what we associate aliens to look like. Then, there's this UFO wave in the late 40s.
That coincides with him being in the area?
Yes, exactly. And in the 60s. Obviously, Crowley didn't invent UFOs. He possibly opened a door. and looked through it decades before anyone knew what to even call these things on the other side. And he drew this thing which we now all think of as an alien. So regardless of whether it's true or false, clever, crazy. Like, I don't know what to believe here, but this guy is responsible for so much folklore around a lot of things that we have come to associate with a cult and aliens. It's wild.
He covers the entire spectrum, doesn't he, of all the things we talk about here at Eavesdroppin'. So that's why he, instead of Ben Mendelsohn, should really be the patron saint.
Oh my God, I don't want him.
We can't replace
Ben Mendelsohn, but also Crowley is too scary.
No, he is a bit scary.
And then we might be opening a portal to Lamb.
No, we're not opening any portals. We're shutting those portals, shutting those doors.
We are.
In their face.
And we might even have to shut down this episode right now because we've gone on a lot about Crowley. And we've got to end on a happy note. We've got to end on a hip, hip, hooray.
A hip, hip, hooray. Birthday bumps to you and me.
Yes, I know.
Who's a jolly good fellow?
All of us.
For we are a jolly good fellow. And so are all of you guys who have supported us for the last 5 years, or if you've just joined us, then thank you for your support. A lot of you have joined us halfway through and then gone right back to the beginning and listened to all the episodes. You've been with us through poor sound quality, talking over the top of each other. Now we've got adverts to contend with. Apologies for that, but we need that because we need to make money in order to keep bringing you the podcast.
I know. And of course, thank you to all our beautiful patrons who support us over on our paid service. We really appreciate it.
Where you can get extras, go over to patreon.com/eavesdroppin'.
Yes.
Any underscores there? I don't know.
No.
On all the social medias, blah, blah, blah. And all of our lovely fans. We know you mostly by name, it seems. Like we're all one big happy family. And we talk to each other and we write back to you as well. Aren't we good? Aren't we good?
We are. And with that, happy birthday.
Thank you, Michelle. And here's to another 5 years with us at Eavesdroppin'. No guarantees. But
we'll try.
Let's see what we can do. And in the meantime, wherever you are,
whatever you do,
just keep eavesdropping.
Woohoo!
Eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, dropping, eavesdropping, eavesdropping, dropping, dropping, eavesdropping, eavesdropping all day long. Eavesdropping, this is the song.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.